Awesome. Looks like we're on. Recording.
Live.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. What am I going to do first? I'll just go through the structure of this webinar. First of all, welcome to those attending today. Great to have you here.
Wait, are you cold?
Slightly.
Sorry.
It's the best.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Just interrupted my flow. So welcome. The purpose of this call is to provide 3 different perspectives on this journey with the SFM, whether you're considering starting an online business or the 6-Figure Mentors. We're here to answer any questions that you may have around the company or just going down this path altogether. But what we'll do firstly, I'll just run through a few housekeeping things. If this is your first time on one of these webinars, again, welcome to you. Just below your screen, you should see a little chat button there that you can click on, and there should be an option to raise your hand. So if you want to come out, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to do that, and we will put you on so that you can ask your question. So the purpose, give you 3 different perspectives. What we'll do first is just do a bit of a quick intro, just a quick 2-minute intro. We'll go around, just tell you a bit of our background and our journey so far, and then we'll just go straight into answering some questions. So who would like to start us off? Targa?
Okay, so my name is Tanga. My favourite is Tajay.
Oh, wow.
I know. I get all sorts of variations. So I'm 53 and I joined the online marketing platform SFM more than just over 12 months ago now. So it's gone really fast. And I've come from, and I still work part-time, so I'm sort of slowly going, sort of letting go of wages and employment and things like that. So I still work part-time in the community service, and prior to that, I was in the banking industry for 15 years, and I was also a mortgage broker for a little bit. But my journey here has brought me to the online space because we've literally, my husband and I have got less than 10 years to retire. And, you know, as much as we enjoy working, we'd rather be playing in retirement. And, you know, the cost of health is also an expensive one these days. So just, you know, to be able to create a lifestyle of, you know, being healthy, being present, and really engaging. Our why is being able to do the things with our family at any time, you know, without too much interruption. So that's our why, and that's why we're here, and really enjoying it. Was that quick enough?
Perfect.
Ding, ding, ding.
That was 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Ooh, right.
No, I'm kidding. Serena?
So myself and Eugene, we've been in SFM now for over a year, and our biggest reason for doing this was that we had our daughter, and I was in the beauty industry, so I owned my own beauty clinic here on the Gold Coast, but I was always going to work and not spending enough time with her. That's not why I had children, was, you know, I wanted to be a hands-on present mum. So we started up our online business, and since then I've been stay at home, and now we're just working on getting Eugene out of work because he's still currently employed. So that's in a nutshell why we're here, and the motivating factor now is to get Eugene to be at home with us.
Awesome. So very similar to Serena's story, I was working as a call center team leader. Started with the SFM, far out, I think we've just hit 12 months now, or coming up to anyway. but started for same reasons. We've got 2 young children, didn't get enough time with them. Everything was just a rush. We wanted to be able to spend more time as a family, travel and being outdoors and just creating memories. That's really important to us. And, you know, working in these jobs just didn't provide us with that opportunity to do what we actually love. So 12 months on, we've learned how to start this online business. We're doing the affiliate marketing side, and we're venturing off into the e-commerce side as well. So we've got those, you know, multiple income streams. Michael is still working at the moment as a truck driver. He's still doing probably around 60 hours a week. So our ultimate goal is, again, like Serena, just to be able to get him off work so that he can come off and help me on the business, and of course, you know, have that time to spend with our 2 children. That is me. That is our story. In terms of questions, we had quite a few come through, and they all seem to relate around the same topic. So what we'll do now is just move into talking about that particular topic, and we'll see if we can do this within half an hour, just so that the webinar and the information that you're receiving is easy to digest, and we'll try not to drag it out too much. So in terms of the questions, or the topic was really around not having enough time. So whether you are considering going down this path of starting an online business, or if you've already joined us and you're with the SFM, you're working through the modules, something that's coming up quite often, it's a common theme, is that you just don't have time. So if we can just, we'll just have a chat about it, have a chat about how we've been able to overcome this, especially, you know, seeing as Tanya's still working part-time. Serena, you've got your daughter, I've got 2 children, so how we find that balance and being able to make time for the online business side. I don't have time.
Yeah, look, it is a common one, and it's the one that I guess, you know, when you're stuck in this 9 to 5, which we know it's not 9 to 5. It's, you know, you've got to add travel on that. You've got to add organising the children and the family, and, you know, getting to work. So, you know, it's a good half of your day is gone just in that normal routine. And often, so my background is actually financial counselling, and so often people have debt, and so what keeps them tied to that job is the debt. You know, it's not just living expenses, it's living expenses plus paying things off, and so it's not that easy to break away from a job. And I mean, you know, that's what I'm doing, is just gradually breaking away from it. So initially in the early stages, it does take a bit of sitting down and having a look at what your normal is, because I can reassure you there will be a lot of moments in your day that are currently being wasted in doing just, you know, numbing stuff. And that could be things like sitting on the TV and just having the TV running in the background and scrolling through, you know, social media. I mean, that's a huge thing. People do that even just when they're driving. I don't. But I suppose it's really about, like, we're all given 24 hours, right? And I think we'll share later on each what we do with that 24 hours. But when you actually start to realise that initially you are going to be stepping into trying to, you know, balance 2 things, but know that that's only short term, you know, because the extra that you'll be doing, even if it's just an hour in the morning, if you can get up just a little bit earlier or go to bed just a little bit later, that extra time that you accumulate through the week, even if you just did an hour a day, it's 7 days a week that you've done in trying to build what you need to build to achieve what you need to achieve. So in terms of timing, you know, again, the overall thing is, for me, It's what's your why? What is actually driving you so much so that not achieving that is more painful than where you're sitting at the moment? So if you've got something that's strong enough to achieve that change that you need to, you will sit down and do these. You will invest a bit of time at the beginning to say, right, blank piece of paper, how are we going to do this? How are we going to organise this time? And if you're married, if you've got a partner, you're running a family, make it a joint thing. Sit down and get your partner organised so that they know that during this time in the morning or during that 1 hour in the evening, you need to have this time to work on the business. And if that's how they contribute, awesome. So work as a team. That's my thoughts.
I completely agree. When we first started out, because Eugene is still at work, he really wanted to go through the modules as well. And he was listening to the modules in his car on the way to work, and then he'd even have his earphones while he was on the digger, not when he's doing like big jobs, but in downtime in between loading trucks and things, he'd be listening to the modules, doing what he can in the spare time that normally he would just spend on his phone scrolling through Facebook or, doing tasks that are not going to get us any further in the business. So audio definitely in the car is huge, especially if you are traveling to work, because that could be an hour in traffic and then that's your hour done already. And if you've got up early, then, that's another couple of hours. For myself, I waited until my daughter was asleep. I found that I could concentrate a lot more if she wasn't around. So I'd wait until she was asleep, spend a good chunk of the time, like 2 hours, just purely business. And being at home, and I know you might agree, like you look around the house and you're like, oh, there's washing to be done, or I could be doing something else. I could be whatever you think you can do, but all that stuff can wait, and you can do that with your children awake. But when they're asleep and you've got time to yourself, I think if you just focus solely on SFM, getting through the modules, then you're going to get ahead a lot quicker than what you think that you can do it. So if you are still working, like Tanga said, just try and get an hour in the morning or an hour in the evening. Something is better than nothing. But that helped for us.
When we first got started, I don't even think the whole time issue crossed my mind. It was more and coming back to what you were saying, Tanga, about finding what your why is, what your motivation is. That was the thing that sort of drove me to start in the first place. And then that's when I started figuring out how I was going to piece all this together, how I was going to find time to go through the modules. But initially, it was what my motivation was. What's the point in starting an online business? So, doing a bit of research and seeing these other people and what they've achieved by starting an online business and joining the SFM, that just motivated me to get started. So even though we have 2 children, I was working at the time and it was really stressful. The work that I was doing, the environment that I was in, it was really toxic. So I was coming home just feeling really emotionally exhausted, stressed out, and that whole time thing at that stage, that wasn't on my mind. It was more about, okay, how am I going to get myself out of this? I can't continue living like this. I hate this job. I can't continue, hopping between different jobs. So I think it's crucial, if you're just starting and thinking about starting an online business, what's the motivation behind it? That's something that I think has got to be like the main focus is, what is it that you're looking to achieve? Why are you doing this? And then as you go through the modules, it's quite, and this is just speaking from personal experience, but as you start working through the modules, it's like this, you just get this whole new sense of motivation to keep going. And that's when you start figuring out, okay, well, I'm going to start setting up a schedule. I'm going to create this routine where I do an hour, or I do 2 hours, or whatever. For me, it was waking up at 3:30 in the morning, because I was training to do a 100-kilometre cycle at that stage. So I needed to be able to get my exercise done and then do like an hour on the SFM, working through the modules. And like Serena was saying, listening to the training on my way to work, that became the new thing. And I was excited to do that. Like just working through the modules, I was excited to be able to do that. So driving into work, driving home from work, I'd be doing that. Get home, shower the girls, get them all ready, do dinner, and then as soon as they're in bed, dedicate another hour or two. But you find that motivation over time. But again, I think it's crucial that you find out what are you doing this for? What's the point in putting all this effort and time and energy into this? What is it that you're looking to achieve? So that's speaking from personal experience. Did you just want to add anything onto that?
I think that, I think the fear of having, like, you either dedicate this time to starting up your online business or you go back to life how it was. I think the scare factor in that is going to make time, because you're going to be so scared of having to go back to your normal life, or you've found this other way out. So, you know, you choose. And maybe that means not watching Netflix every night. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just in being able to, like, you're going through a transformation, and the fact that you've actually watched and searched for some sort of meditation on YouTube, and, you know, this ad, you've responded to an ad that's come out, it means that you're already put yourself in that pathway for change. And so you're just starting to take the level up. You're just starting to level up now to take each step. And sometimes, you know, when you start to get these opportunities that come your way, you know, you get this whole fear thing happening, and then you don't do anything because, this is too much, it's going to take too much time, it's going to do da 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 da. But, you know, if you're going to take the step into anything, you're going to be investing something. My husband and I started cleaning because when I did the budget like 3 years ago, we were just working to pay off debt. I'm like going, really, is that what life is about? So being able to pay off that debt, and like it was an extra $300 a month, seriously, that's, you would think, why would you do that? But we did it because we knew that it wasn't just the money, it was actually getting ourselves aligned with the mindset that we needed to be able to step into the new role, or do what we needed to do to step into this new opportunity that came through. So whatever that next step is for you, if that is to sit down and plan your day, or if that is to read, there's a really good book that I read in the early days, and it was called, is called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And that is a great read. I tell you what, if you're not organised and you're just flowing through the day and it's just, before you know it, you're getting ready for bed, this is a really good book. And he gives you real actionable steps for you to take in order to get some control, to plan your mornings. And it's not about being regimented. You know, that's not what it's about. It's being able to create some structure around your day where you get to be more conscious about what you're doing, how you're spending that other half of the day, where you can look back the day after and go, geez, you know, I managed to achieve a lot yesterday. And it's really powerful, you know, because at the moment, potentially, you've got an opportunity here to take some extra steps. And it's not scary. It doesn't have to be scary.
It's funny you mentioned that about meditation and how, you know, you've been open to some sort of change in your life. And I think 3 months before starting with the SFM, I was listening to a lot of Tony Robbins. I was listening to Tony Robbins with this idea that if I can try and change something with my mindset, then it will put me in a better position with work within the position that I was already in. So I didn't actually think that starting an online business would be the thing or the direction that I would go down. But it presented itself, and I think because I'd done all that mindset work and just listening to Tony Robbins, it put me in a position where I thought, okay, well, I don't have to use this for, my job. This opportunity has presented itself. I just need to have that courage to step into it. And I'll tell you what, 12 months down the track, it probably was the best decision at the time to just, suck it up and just look into it. So.
Yeah, well, all of us are going to be 12 months down the track looking back. So I think it's just a matter of asking yourself, what do you want to be able to say? What does your future self want to be able to, look back and say, geez, that was amazing. It was hard, but wow, everything's flowing through now. Or are you going to be sitting on another webinar and feeling, oh God, I've lost another year? I actually had a lady that called me and she said she'd looked into this very same platform 10 years ago, and she's now, she's 65 and she's full of regret because now she feels like she's got to start all over again. And she has. But, everyone's got to start somewhere. So.
Awesome. Serena, was there anything you wanted to say?
Just on the side of fear, how you were saying that, when you do have to put in a lot of time and you are fearful because you don't know what this online business is going to do for you, the only way to get through that fear is to educate yourself. So to keep going with the modules or to keep going with just education of some sort on the other side of your fear. I remember starting the modules and the amount of questions that I had, and I wish that we had a group like this that felt a little bit more like intimate, that we can ask more questions with. But yeah, for anyone watching, if you have got a fear of anything about whether it is in the modules or if it's just starting up an online business for yourself, whatever the questions are, just ask why we're here.
Definitely.
And then that'll keep you moving forward and creating that time that you need to start it up.
And believe me, we have all covered them. And that's a good thing about it, is that we get to come together and go, wow, and share the different perspectives and then be okay with whatever change you're going through, but trust that on the other side of it. And we have people just a few steps ahead of us. We have other colleagues and associates that we work next to. We have the ones that have been in here for years and years and made some massive achievements too.
Awesome. What are we at? 125?
Woohoo!
Doing pretty good for time. Is there anything you want to add to it before we wrap things up?
Just start.
Yeah.
Just start. You've already started, because you've watched this on the back of putting your email address, and so you've watched the workshops. You will have a ton of questions, and that's natural, but you won't go anywhere while they're sitting in your head. So get it out, get it onto the table, and let me tell you, like I said before, we've all had the same questions, or we've come across the same questions.
Awesome. All right. Serena, any parting thoughts before we close things up?
Just to use us, just to use what we know, and like we've all been here for a year. So yeah, just reach out in the group or emails, because we'll send this out on recording through emails as well. But just use us. Don't sit there with questions just wondering. We need to get you moving. So yeah, ask away.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. As Serena mentioned, we are recording this webinar, so we'll send this out via email, share it in our members group in Facebook as well. If you have any questions that come off the back of this webinar, please reach out to either myself, Serena, or Tanga via email, Facebook, whatever, and we'll try and address that as quickly as we can. But otherwise, that's it from us, and we'll be back for our next webinar in a month's time.
Month's time.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.